Hey everybody. So this is an unusual walk. Walking on a main road. Not something I really like to do, but my car is getting an oil change today and was missing some kind of plug, so it just made more sense to just walk instead of pay for an Uber, and then I get my walk in. So one of the things I want to talk about today is the idea that family is such an integral part of being able to live and live well. And when you don't have family or you don't have a support network, it makes your day-to-day way more difficult. And for example, I think that sometimes we learn from our parents what to do and what not to do. And my mom, was a saver and is a saver. She taught the principle of figuring out what your goals are, saving the money towards those goals, and doing whatever it takes in order to make that happen, whether that meant getting an extra part-time job or starting a side hustle. Like, she is a baker, so she's always done, baking of some kind while we were growing up. And whether it was brownies or lemon squares or what have you, those baked goods sales would go towards whatever goals she needed. If it was new shoes for us for school, she had a plan. She mapped out a plan, and she was relentless until she achieved her goal. On the other hand, my dad is a risk taker. He has more of the, I'm going to say, business risk, business mindset. And so he would get involved in these multi-level marketing or get rich quick schemes, whether it was Amway or some kind of sales that required, like commission-based sales, where he had to do a lot of work to sell the things. And if it didn't go so well, then, we didn't have money to do things that we needed to do. So my dad was more the risk taker, and my mom was more of the saver. And when it came time for my dad's end of life, which happened suddenly last year, I asked him, what do you want me to do to support you in your last, bucket list, your last wishes? And there was a list of things that my dad asked me to do, and I'm still working on that list. Of things that he wasn't able to get to in his lifetime because he died last year, but then he put those tasks on me to follow through on those tasks. Now, when I think about my own goals, and then my dad put a heaping of his goals on my plate, at first I was like, this seems like a lot. While I'm going to graduate school, while I'm living in hotels because my home was flooded, it was a big ask. And yet, when it's your parents, and you know that throughout your lifetime, your parents were there for you, at least my parents were, maybe not always in the capacity that I'd wanted, but they were there for me. My dad was more of the listening ear, the counsel. He might have given better counsel than actually how he lived his own life. Again, ironic. But nonetheless, I was following through on certain tasks that he asked me to do. And in this process of following up on his tasks, I was going through a bunch of his paperwork, which was a lot of his writings, his poetry, his short stories. And he asked me to do something with them, whether I made a book or what have you. And as I was going through all this paperwork, I found some insurance policies. And again, being that my dad had many jobs along the years, he was kind of a generalist. He could do a lot, but was he good at one specific thing? Maybe not so much. He was more of a generalist. But in these papers, I followed up on these papers, and I actually just got a payout this week for one of these life insurance policies. Not a lot, something, but it showed again that his original policies that he cashed out against those policies instead of letting them come to their maturity and leaving the money where it was intended to go, meaning to his family, me and my brother and my mom. A bunch of the money he had already cashed out for his own living expenses or selfish reasons. And so what I'm getting at is, I just got this check. I was very grateful for getting this check. And the timing is usually relevant, like, I've been waiting on certain things to manifest that I've been working very diligently at. But when you're dealing with bureaucracies and red tape of bureaucracies, their delay can be extensive. So to get this portion of money was very helpful and timely. And because I went through and filed the paperwork to start the claim, then shortly thereafter, my mom received her own paperwork to fill out, which I helped her fill out because I was familiar already filling it out for myself. And the point is, she got a portion. And again, I was not expecting anything other than what was designated as my portion. But what I'm getting at is that my mom just called me to tell me that she wanted to give me her portion so that I can put it towards this debt that I've accumulated as a result of this bureaucracy that has not paid me a reimbursement check that they said that they would pay by a certain date, and we're a year later and all that interest is accruing and it's costing me because the bureaucracy has been late. And my mom, who understands finances sometimes better than me, because again, she's older, she has wisdom, she's been through a lot more life experiences, buying and selling and using credit. She was like, and it just makes more sense to put this on the card and wipe out more of that interest, and and that way that's more stress off your back. And again, I agree, but what I'm getting at is, this is the benefit of having a family. This is a benefit of having parents that love you. This is a benefit of knowing that when times get tough, that you can lean on your family. I would not wish any of the horrible challenges that I have had the entire duration of my relationship with my fiance, who ended up being a narcissist and a drug addict and active addiction. I would not wish any of his evil or wickedness on any person. The struggle is real to climb out from financial oppression, identity theft, literally all of your cash reserves being stolen, all of your jewelry that you've amassed over a lifetime stolen, heirloom furniture, antiques, vintage music instruments stolen. The point is, when you really realize the sad state of people in addiction and what they will do to oppress anybody to get their next high, to get their next lust, to get their next whatever. Their goal is one goal, have sex, get drugs, and party hard. And unless you have gone through that, you really don't know what kind of hardship, what kind of hardship that does. Sorry, that guy just sped through a crosswalk while I was walking in the middle of the crosswalk. Again, assholes. Everybody's in a damn hurry. The point is that the appreciation for having family, because what my fiance, who was a drug addict, covert, who was a narcissist, what he did to me while I was engaged to him, all the things I didn't know he was doing, when he died, to find all that hidden information, and still have to fight all of these battles to reclaim my personal identity, my business identity, to rebuild after having all that money stolen. You can't get back the heirlooms, the family heirlooms, the assets, the jewelry, the physical stuff. And yes, it's just physical stuff. And in the matter of things, am I heartbroken without it? I'm disappointed from the loss of the financial value and the sentimental value. But what's been more damaging is to recover from the identity theft, to recover from the credit repair, to recover from the emotional pain of realizing that he never really loved me. A person that loves a person does not do things to another person when they're in love like that. It's just the depth of what a person in addiction does and what a narcissist does is so vile and so destructive. And I know that I can keep going on about this because it really has been a long 6-year journey after his death, and I'm still climbing out of it. So what I'm getting at is, if I didn't have my family as a single person, I could not have recovered financially. Even with my business income and, the side things that I do, it still wasn't enough because of the damage. Meaning that when someone wrecks your credit score from, a 750 or 770, and your credit score goes down to a 300, that affects everything in your life. So what I'm getting at is, it's not just snap your fingers and everything is repaired. It's taken a long time to get all those things fixed, removed, deleted, and I'm still working on things that, sometimes it takes multiple efforts of repeated notarized letters to get the data erased and corrected. And it's challenging because what it requires is perseverance and endurance. And when you're trying to manage all these other things that have piled up and you're trying to grieve, it makes it very difficult. So I want to come back to the story of when a woman, in this case me, agrees to marry a man, and that man has presented himself as a successful, financially independent, viable man that has assets, that is going to care for me. And when that man says to me, hey honey, you don't need to, your business and the stuff that you're doing, like, you don't need to do that anymore. Like, I got you, baby. Like, I got everything covered. And when you're an independent woman who has worked her whole single life trying to balance all these balls on my own, and trying so hard to not ask for help from my family, because the motto is like, you're independent, you can do it, like, go for it, you're strong. And meanwhile, I'm not making it, or I wasn't making it. And so this guy comes along and says, hey, I'm financially independent and financially successful. If we join forces with your experience and your talents, he's like, we can really make my music performance schedule like amazing. And again, when you love somebody, you're so wooed into the love bombing. You're so wooed into, this is going to be great, and he's got my back, and all of that. And they're so manipulative and cunning and very convincing. And so when I agreed, and then I, started to slow down some of my events and retreats, it was like, for the first time in my life, I wasn't having to burn the candle at both ends. I actually had a man that was saying, why don't you take some time and rest and do some self-care and, get a manicure and a pedicure? And I'm just like, what? Like, it was like a dream. Like, I really wanted to believe that this man was going to give me a quote break from the perpetual, gerbil cage of running around in a circle. Because when you're a single independent woman and you're trying to do everything on your own, that means you're paying for all the expenses. The car insurance, the car maintenance, the car registration. You're paying for the apartment, the electricity, the water, the trash, the gasoline for your car, your groceries, your vitamins, your supplements, your beauty care, any classes that you're taking, your gym membership. I mean, you're handling it all. And as a woman, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying that it's more challenging, because typically the salaries for women are still lower than they have been, and for a long time, men make more money than women for the same exact job or the same exact career path. And so a man could walk in to an interview and get 30% higher than what they're offering me. That's a real reality, and it still happens. So what I'm getting at was, when this man, who I was engaged to, made me believe that he loved me, put a big $10,000 ring on my finger, told me that he had my back, I really was paying attention. I really was believing that I was going to have a reprieve. And although I did have a short reprieve, meaning I got to stay at home and cook meals and just manage his schedule. And that was a lot less stressful than me trying to run a full-time business, maintain a house, maintain all the other functions and have hobbies that were the side gigs, because I was trying to do everything by myself. And the amount of stress that I was carrying was incredible, as many women do. Now, in my case, I don't have any children, but woe to the women who have children on top of trying to manage just themselves and their self-care and their education and their work schedule, their job schedule, and their business schedule, plus, childcare, plus teaching kids, plus homeschooling kids or taking them to school, picking up them to school, all the activities for child activities. I'm just saying, women with children have it even harder than a single person like me. And when he died, from drug addiction, and all of the lies came into full focus because those automatic payments stopped because there was no job from him. Those automatic payments that went into the accounts were not going into the accounts. Then I saw the trail of all these withdrawals that had happened in that short time period of him relapsing again. And all of those withdrawals added up. And when you see the story and you then understand what was really going on after the fact, you realize that the whole time, the whole story was a big fat lie. So in the end, I became a widowed fiance. I never even got to the point of marriage because of his drug addiction, because of the relapsing, and me believing that God was going to handle him, and me with all my prayer circles and church, people praying for him. The point is, until a person fully surrenders to God and says, I've had enough of myself and my own shenanigans, until they get to that point, it's like they're still running the game. They have to get to their rock bottom. And in his case, he never did. He never got to rock bottom. And as a result, he died instead of having a real true surrender, and instead of having a victory where God, took over his life and made him a better person. It didn't happen. So, again, on this topic of gratitude for family, gratitude for having your small village of people that have been there for you in the challenging times, that have made it accessible for me to get the support that I needed at the time when I needed it, and to be able to manage all of these competing contingencies while having the support of family. And I think, again, of how many people who do not have parents like I did, many people who don't have a support system, and that is what's scary, to not have that at all. I have it, and it still was challenging, and I'm still recovering from the financial damages that were done to me through the fiance who was a narcissist and a drug addict. And it'll be done when it's done, meaning climbing your way out of a crab pit takes time. You don't just snap your fingers and it's done. And what it has taught me is, number one, to not trust people even more, to be even more selective in the people that I even invite into my circle. And it's also taught me the preciousness of how valuable a few people are in my life. Meaning, my mom is gold, okay? And my best friend, gold. And my biblical advisor, gold. And my Christian counselor, gold. And the financial advisors that have helped tell me what to do and what action steps I needed to take control of my life after these damaging things were done to me. Gold. And when you go through a traumatic experience such as what I've been through, and through 2 major deaths in a short period of time, actually 3. My aunt, who was like my second mom, just such a great family member, that really supported me during the time of my car accident. Gold, okay? And my mom, gold. My dad, gold. I mean, their support to me, and although their support came in very different forms, you know, I still valued them so much. And when you look at other people that don't have that, that's why I have a heart and I want to reach out to other people that are widows, orphans, and poor, because I understand their struggle. I understand what I've been through as a result of men that lie, and alcoholics, addicts, and narcissists that take advantage, and they have a kill and destroy plan, and that's all they care about. And I'm not the only one. That's the point. I am not the only person that is going through troublesome circumstances and situations, meaning there are many other women, single women, women that have hearts of gold, that thought that the man that came into their life was for real, when for real he was a phony poser taking advantage. And when your heart is ripped open like mine has been, and when the grieving process has taken so much longer because of the trauma and the unrequited love that was attached to the situation, it makes the journey a longer process. And I'm learning a lot. I have learned a lot. And again, I'm grateful for the journey. I'm grateful for what I have learned in this process so that I can help other women and pass on the torch so that they too can become victorious after said trauma, after said verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, narcissistic abuse, and be able to get their confidence back after such vile torment and trauma. And I'm so grateful. So what I'm getting at is, God is a good father, and he loves his children. And when I am in my Bible religiously with commitment every single day, and I'm getting to know who God is one day at a time with more clarity and more understanding, then God sees my commitment And he wipes out those people that are harming me, sometimes in ways that I don't understand, sometimes in ways that that will take more time to get through. Thank you. Sometimes that will take more time to get through because of the challenge that it is with the circumstances and with the specific situation when you're dealing with addicts, trauma, abuse, and narcissism. So, like I said, I'm very grateful. If you are someone that is in the midst of a challenging situation with an addict, with an alcoholic, with a narcissist, and you want to talk it out, you want to have a listening ear, a caring heart, and you want to create an action plan, I'm here to help you. I have tools and resources that can help put you in the right path. I have a lot of patience, I have a lot of understanding, and now wisdom. So if I can be of help to you, check out my description, and I will see you on our scheduled call. Thank you so much.